CEO always helps. So thank you, Daniel, for that. We are now live, and we're going out to Facebook. I'm just going to check this Facebook stream, and yes, we are live. So just a minute. I'm going. Yep. Right. Okay. Just let me stop that. Good afternoon and welcome to this very special show with myself and Mike Briercliffe. Good afternoon, Mike.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are things with you?
Pretty good. Busy.
Right. Now, the strange thing is that we are both from Burnley, are we not?
We are.
The great town of Burnley, the great city of Burnley. It should be a city, really, shouldn't it? And our football. Where's our football team at the moment? Is it in the top half of the Premiership?
Halfway-ish.
Halfway. Yeah, we're on the halfway line now. Before we get going properly, we have a common friend who supports the Baggies, and we're playing the Baggies tonight. We're playing West Bromwich.
Yeah.
So shout out to Roger Vanstone, and may the best team win tonight. He's probably going to go and watch them. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, today's show is on a business topic, and we're going to look at technology and business. And our first question, I'm going to bring it up on screen, because what we do when we do these shows is that when we've got the technology, is that we agree the first three questions. So the first question for Mike, which we agreed, is should SMEs care about the new advancing technology, or is it just for the big boys? Who's it for?
Well, I think I meet a lot of SMEs. And I really mean S's, because M's are actually quite big companies. But I meet a lot of S's who are saying this new technology stuff isn't for me. You know, IoT, big data, cloud, whatever it might be. For me, the key issue is this: almost all small businesses are involved in supply chains, and the supply chains are increasingly going to be dominated by the kind of emerging technologies. So it's not really a question of should I be in it. In effect, you're in it, and there's not a hell of a lot you can do about it.
Yep.
So my advice to small businesses when I'm giving such advice is don't necessarily jump in at the deep end and do it all yourself, or kick off new projects in things like Internet of Things or whatever it might be. But think about your place in the supply chain and think about how these technologies are affecting the supply chain. Because pretty sure you're in it, and whether you like it or not, and it's a matter of coping with it more than it is taking initiatives to do new things in it. Although indeed, you know, there are going to be opportunities for you to do new projects in this arena. The reality is, though, you can't avoid it, so you might as well get used to it. Figure out what the issues are. Figure out the environment in which you are now residing, and decide how much it matters to you, and then make baby steps in terms of new projects for yourself. So to me, these technologies cannot be ignored if you are a small business in any kind of a supply chain relationship.
Right, okay. Answer that, and we'll go on to the second question, and then we'll talk more generally. And this is a question which affects every business. And I'm just trying to copy this. Right, and the second question is, how do I stay safe in this technological world? As a business, what do I need to do?
Well, I think our audience is falling away rapidly here. We've got one watcher at the moment, by the look of it.
Don't worry about that.
Well, obviously, I'm being quite boring.
No, just take a moment before you answer and think about your answer. Basically, what the figures that we see here are not, let's not say they're not 100%.
Right.
And they will fluctuate throughout the show. Now, if anybody is watching the show now, just to prove it to Mike and to me, if you are watching the show and you're watching it live on Facebook, can you just say hi? If you type hi in the comments down below, then Mike and I will be able to see it and react. If it's just you watching, Daniel, good afternoon. Okay, right, and we're back. All right, so how do we keep safe?
Well, there are layers upon layers upon layers of things that you need to do to be safe. The reality of safety is that there isn't any complete safety. There's no complete safety. But it's a question of presenting barriers to potential invasions, really. And I think there are quite a number of technical things you can do. So, for instance, or technically related things you can do. For instance, if you're not currently using the basics of firewalls and malware detectors and so on and so forth, then you should be. And it's not too hard to figure out what to do there. In my own business, every morning and every evening, I scan for malware in case anybody has snuck something through. I've got live monitoring on malware for the same reason. I've got a firewall. I've got virus detectors and so on and so forth. But really, the key issue is people awareness here. There are a lot of people who quite simply are not well trained, or even well briefed. So I think the key issue is to go to your staff and ensure you can give them some rules of engagement. Going back to that question, or going back to the earlier question, I mentioned supply chains.
Yeah.
One of the biggest attacks of malware, phishing attacks, occur in supply chains, where someone will pretend to be you, Stephen, and send me an email, and I trust you, so I open it. And they were only pretending to be you, and it's loaded with malware, ransomware, or whatever. So there are a number of things you've got to be aware of. Do not click on emails with attachments unless you're absolutely 100% sure that what's in there is not poisonous.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I know a single company at the small to medium end of the scale who really has this hacked. Sorry to use the pun. Who has really dealt with this issue. And I think the number of things that happen for that company, for those companies, must be, there must be horrendous things going on there. But the worst thing is, if I am malwared by you and I'm in a supply chain of, let's say, a large supermarket chain, then the chances of that large supermarket chain equally having being open to that same poison is fairly significant. And if they themselves aren't on guard, it's really a question of weakest point of entry for these hackers. And the reality is, down the supply chain, in the lesser, well-structured companies. So however big you are, small, medium, large enterprise, whatever, at the small end in particular, you've got to be safe. I can imagine a scenario where to get into a supply chain in the future, you're going to have to pass tests. And if you haven't passed tests and you don't observe standards, you won't get business. So it's really a question of coming up with a policy, taking some advice. Anybody wants some advice, I'm willing to give it to them offline in terms of the very basic things that should be done.
Yeah.
Getting your people to a point where they understand what's happening when they have a touch point from the outside world, and putting them on their guard and ensuring that whatever you've done with the technical things to bomb-proof yourself and put barricades up, where basically you're able to deal with whatever occurs. And I don't know what the stats are. I wouldn't mind betting that more than 90% of malware is brought on by the what's the word I'm looking for here? Not the meaningful misbehaviour, but the unmeaning misbehaviour of staff.
Yeah.
Key issue. So how do you stay safe? Do the basics technically. You don't have to get too clever there. Malware detectors, firewalls, virus detectors, spam filters, and so on. Do the basics, but then get your staff to a point where they understand what the issues are. And when you've done that, you might well start to be somewhere near safe.
Yeah. So is there an audit that they can do?
Yeah, there's an audit. In the UK, we have a, the standard for data security is BS 27001. But to go for BS 27001 is no mean thing. By the way, going back to what I said a little while ago, I think it's important to realise that getting into a supply chain for a meaningful contract in the future, I think will rely on adherence to standards. And
Yep.
you know, like all those British standards, ISOs, and so on, they don't really tell the world that you're doing anything but doing what you've said you'll do. So you know, all those standards are really about, have you got a system and do you observe it? They don't really make any comment upon how good your system is in the first place. I remember back in the old days with BS 5750, it was a box ticking exercise to make sure that what you'd written down that you did, you actually did do. But if you'd written down things that weren't appropriate, then all you did was perpetuate things that weren't appropriate. So there are some standards. BS 27001 is one. There's a government, a UK government scheme on at the moment, which I ought to remember the name of, but age is catching up on me. But there is I'll post it to my Facebook page later. There is a government scheme which helps you become cyber secure.
Oh, right, okay.
It's BS 27001, not 20001.
Do you want to type it again? I think I should.
BS 27001.
So in the UK, it's BS 27001, and what we're saying is that is the standard to which you should aspire.
Yeah. But there's another initiative from the UK government, which I think might be called Cyber Aware. I'll find it later and post it. And that gives you the assistance of a bit of money to help you do it if you get it right.
But because it's in everybody's interest, isn't it?
It is in everybody's interest, and I, you know, whenever I've been writing my blogs on the Hiscox blog, and I've written loads of blogs, I've written about 13 or 14 blogs on the Hiscox business page now.
Yeah.
Almost whatever subject you tackle for small business, you come back to the security issue.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you're talking about, it's got to be secure. If it's data, if it's comms, if it's supply chain linkage, whatever it is, security lies at the heart of it. And companies who don't get their security right, they're not going to be involved in supply chains in the future. They'll be excommunicated. So it's really important.
So it's about money. It's about being able to not only supply the goods or the service, you've actually got to say, right, I am BS 27001 certified. You can communicate with me.
I think that will become almost mandatory in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not necessarily mandatory, although certain organisations, particularly the supermarkets in their supply chains, I'm sure will be trying to enforce, or maybe even enforcing, that standard within their supply chain at all levels.
Yeah. So it's filtering down then.
It's filtering down. It's filtering down. I mean, the people who've got the problem, if you've got a problem and if you're making a little component somewhere in
and if you can still hear me, we appear to might be back in a minute. This is the thing, we're connecting Wiltshire, and I'm hoping this is, if you can hear me, can you just say hi? I can hear you, then I know it's not me. So if Paul or Sage, if you can say that you can still hear me, that will be most helpful. Yeah, if you can't hear me, then we've got a problem. All right, okay, thank you, John. And good afternoon, John. It's good to see you here. I'm just going to talk to Mike in the background. So I'm just telling him we've lost his signal. And asking him to refresh. Right, okay, sorry about that little diversion. And thank you, John, for letting me know, because it's most helpful. Because the thing about, Paul asked a question earlier, whilst I'm waiting for Mike. Paul asked a question, it's a very good question earlier. How am I doing this? How am I live on Facebook and not on the I can't see the Facebook page. I am on BeLive.tv, which is a company based in Haifa in Israel. and we discovered it about 5 or 6 weeks ago. And this is their live video system. Currently, it's either 1 or 2 people on screen. At the moment, it's 1, should be 2. And it's free to use whilst it's in beta. Now, all you need to do is to go along to, I'll just type that in. Welcome back, just a minute, Mike. If you go along to this place, I'm just going to show you in a second, and hopefully it'll come through. If you go here, if you go to BeLive.tv, then you can try it out yourself. First of all, as a single user, and then you request 2 on screen. So during the commercial break, which is a commercial for BeLive.tv, and I just finished this commercial off. If you want to know more about BeLive.tv, there is a show at 3 p.m. Eastern today, 8 p.m. UK, and it's on the BeLive TV app page on Facebook. If you go there at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK, you'll be able to see BeLive.tv in their first ever show that they've broadcast themselves with help. Right, okay, sorry about that. You're back. I mean, these things happen. Welcome back, Mike. Okay, so we're having a really good discussion there about security and about how it's filtering down the supply chains within companies. And can we just pick up where we sort of left off, where we were talking about the BS 27001 and how important that's going to be? And we can edit this video afterwards, so it sounds like nothing ever went wrong, so no problem with that. But it's good to have a live audience, and I'd like to welcome everybody who's here. I'm just going to, whilst I'm waiting for an answer from John, they're just saying that they can't see you. I can see you, but they're not seeing you at the moment. So it could be that there's a slight delay on that. And I just want to know if you can actually hear Mike. Thank you, Kelvin. I mean, we're trying to make this show entertaining, and Mike, they can't hear you or see you, so it looks at the moment like I'm talking to myself. So if you can make a copy of the URL, yeah, close the browser and then restart. I know, can you do it again? I know it's a pain in that, but they can't see or hear you, and it looks like I'm talking to myself. And I don't make sense at the best of times. So, okay, so they're saying you can't hear. So Mike is leaving for a moment. If you've any questions, how do you people know when something's going wrong? Things were going fine a minute ago, and then nobody watching this, and as soon as things go wrong. So I want to say a shout out, because I know you're watching. A shout out to Stephen Hughes, Colette, Simonelli, Friedman, and Wojtek, and to Kelvin and to John for watching us today. Mike, say something. Right, John, can you hear Mike? Okay, let's just wait a second. Can you just carry on talking, Mike, about? We'll go on to the next. About you. Oh, right. Okay, fine. Okay. Right. If we just carry on talking, and we'll check with John, and John's saying no again. Yeah. Okay. Now. Right. Okay. At times like this, the best thing to do is not to panic. Not to panic. What we're going to do is I'm going to close this show, and we'll be back in 5 minutes on Facebook on Smile Time. So if you hang around this page, we'll be back. We're experiencing difficulties here, and thank you for watching so far, by the way.